He was a ghost, a whisper, a nightmare parents told their children about to make them behave. They called him the Shadow. He haunted the city's underbelly, preying on the innocent children.
I wasn't born a monster, but somewhere along the line I'd become one. Maybe it was the foster homes, the abuse, the neglect. Whatever it was, it had twisted me, turned me into something dark and dangerous.
His crimes were always swift, always brutal. He would slip into homes at night, taking what he wanted, leaving only silence behind. The police were baffled. The city lived in fear. Ryan reveled in it. The fear was his power. He fed off it, his heart colder than the steel blade he carried. It was a rainy Tuesday when he found her, Emily. 7 years old, with bright red boots and eyes that reminded him of someone he'd forgotten.
I took her like the others, my heart a numb drum in my chest. I brought her to my hideout, an abandoned warehouse by the docks.
As he looked at her, small and frightened, something shifted within him. Emily's eyes, wide and terrified, mirrored something he saw in his own reflection, a deep, forgotten pain.
I had been that scared once. I remembered the feeling, the utter helplessness.
For the first time, the monster inside him faltered. The guilt was a tidal wave. It crashed over him, pulling him under. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All he could see was Emily. All he could feel was the echo of his own long-buried pain.
That night, I didn't sleep. I paced my hideout, haunted by Emily's face, by the faces of all the children I had hurt. I had become the very thing that had terrified me as a child.
The decision was sudden, desperate. He had to stop the monster he had become. He walked out of the warehouse into the cold dawn light and headed straight for the police station. Instead, he found himself at the doors of St. Jude's psychiatric hospital, the weight of his sins crushing him. He walked in, a broken man seeking redemption. Section 4. The Doctor and the Darkness. Dr. Rachel Kim was a beacon of calm in the storm of Ryan's chaos. With gentle eyes and a quiet strength, she listened as he poured out his sins. He told her everything, held nothing back.
The therapy was brutal. I dug deep into the recesses of my mind, confronting the horrors of my past, the abuse, the neglect, the rage. I relived every nightmare, every moment that had led me down this path.
Dr. Kim never judged. She taught him about empathy, about the devastating impact of his actions. Slowly, painfully, he began to understand the depth of his crimes. Section 5, Finding Light in Service. Years passed, years filled with therapy, with self-reflection, with a burning desire to atone. Ryan's darkness didn't disappear overnight. It lingered, a constant shadow, a reminder of the man he once was. But he fought it every single day.
I found solace in helping others, in easing their pain. I started volunteering at a local children's shelter, the very place I wished I had had as a child. I listened to their stories, offered comfort, and became a source of strength for those who had also known darkness. I saw the fear in their eyes, the fear I myself had instilled in so many, and it fueled my determination to change.
Section 6. From Shadow to Savior. News of Ryan's past followed him. Some recoiled, unable to see past the monster he had been, but others saw his transformation, the genuine remorse in his eyes.
I used my knowledge of the city's underbelly, the dark corners I knew so well, to help the police solve missing persons cases. I became their secret weapon, my past sins now a tool for good. I saved lives, reunited families.
Slowly, tentatively, the community began to trust him, to see the man he was striving to be. Section 7. A Promise Kept. One spring afternoon he received a letter. The words were simple, the handwriting familiar. It was from Emily. She had grown up, become a beautiful young woman. She wanted to meet him. He went to their meeting with a heart full of trepidation.
I saw her across the park, sitting on a bench, her red boots replaced with stylish shoes. I recognized the fear in her eyes, but also something else, forgiveness.
They talked for hours that day. He apologized, his voice thick with emotion. Emily listened, her gaze steady. She told him about her life, her dreams, her fears, and then she told him something that stole his breath away.
I forgive you.
As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, Ryan knew he was finally free. The shadow of his past would always be with him, but it no longer defined him. He had found redemption, not in the eyes of the world, but in the forgiving heart of the girl he had once hurt. And in that forgiveness he found hope. Hope for a future where the darkness no longer held sway.